Hello, my name is Mordred Viking and I'd like to welcome you to the third community multiplayer game of Europa Universalis IV. This is the start game, so you can see that we have players spread all over the world. We're just getting started today. We have 3 players who are not here currently. I will introduce everyone else after this. So we have no Portugal right now, we have no Ethiopia right now, and no Tunis right now. So Portugal, Ethiopia and Tunis should actually be players, but they have not shown. Once we are in the game, I will go through... Actually, you know what? I will do the introductions now. So we have got Jamie up in Sweden. We've got Valinoma in England.
Do you want me to hit play so everybody can do their initial things while you're doing the introductions?
Yeah, I would say go ahead.
It's 7. I was gonna say it's 9 o'clock now, whatever 3 time for you. So
Yep, absolutely. Go. Let's start. And then give him like 5-10 minutes.
all right, got it.
Cool. So we got Jamie in Sweden, we got Valinoma in England. And once the game has actually started, I'll be able to hover over and see who everyone else is. We have Commander Faceless over in France. Yeah, I'll just wait for this. I want to be able to see who jumps into my commentary box, so I need to minimize this. That works. Having Streamlabs OBS means that I have a lot less windows open at any time now, so I'm not going to have to constantly be fiddling around with that, which is quite nice. Anyway, while we are waiting for this to load up, hello to you all. How are you all doing on this lovely Sunday afternoon, or morning, or evening, wherever it may be where you are. And Ben McMahon, thank you very much for the resubscription, coming in with an 11-month resub. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that. Just one more month away from getting those golden wings, which I was wearing myself yesterday in Prophecy of Pendor, which was a lot of fun. England and France could be strong again. Yeah, there is always the possibility of that occurring. Now, where's the player map mode? Do I want to add player map mode to this? I think I probably do. You know what? Let's put it on here. Players. Okay, so we have Valinoma in England. We have got Commander Faceless in France. We have Bacon Killer in Castile. Then Milan is being played by the Venetian Merchant, also known as Aretos. We have Fewer in Austria. We have Slurfen in Brandenburg. The Pope is being played by Holy Victor, appropriate name. We have... Why do people always change their names? Who was the Ottomans? Eagle Slayer in the Ottomans. We have Helson in Muscovy, so I'm expecting a very dangerous Muscovy throughout this. In fact, having these two are probably the strongest players that we have. So Sweden and Russia are going to be the nations to watch. And I do somewhat suspect that we may well see a coalition of people coming up against Muscovy, so they may try to contain him there. We have got the Empty Road down in the Mamelukes, planning to play a very economic game, is what he has been saying. We have Torshin over in Morocco. We have Blue Kiwi in Ajam. And then that guy is over in Oirat, another one who is potentially going to be a very, very significant power, most likely planning to go after Ming, who is not played. We've got the Martian over in Jiangsu, so we're going to see a Manchu and possibly an Oirat going head-to-head against each other. Then very interestingly, we've actually got 2 different players in Japan. We have Oda, played by CPM, and then Hoshikawa, played by Master Giles. Master Giles probably having the upper hand right now, being a 4-province daimyo, as opposed to Oda being 1. So I'll be watching that with some interest as to whether or not they're going to be aggressive towards one another. We've got Mean Wolf over in Malacca, probably going to become a dominant power throughout Indonesia. And then if we go over to the New World, we have got Charles in Cusco. Charles did say that he wouldn't necessarily be able to attend every session, so he asked to be placed somewhere outside of where other people usually play, so we chose the Inca. We did have a John Purr player, but they pulled out at the last minute. That was going to be Calico, who has again historically been one of the strongest players. And this has really opened India up for grabs for a lot of other people to try and attack. So India is going to be an open battlefield. I suspect that a lot of Africa is going to be a battlefield. Europe, as always, is simply because it's very crowded with different players. And then I think we're also going to see a little bit more action over in Asia than we very frequently do. Although, how Ming gets divvied up is going to be an interesting question for this session, I believe. There are a couple of things that we should talk about. Number one is, you know that I have the No Institution Development mod, where people cannot just spend development to build up their institutions. That's been completely blocked. That doesn't work. However, we have an updated version of this. So the really problematic institutions, for example, the Renaissance, printing press, and colonialism, can actually appear elsewhere in the world outside of just Europe. So if the Renaissance were to spawn in Italy, and the starting conditions for this has not been changed, but once the Renaissance has spawned, and if you have a natural scientist or a philosopher as an advisor, then you will gain some institution spread in your capital. Any nation outside of Europe can get this. So we could well see Renaissance spawning in Italy, and then somebody like Oirat starting to spawn the Renaissance because they have one of those two advisors. Likewise, with, what's the next one? Printing press, no, colonialism. If you have completed the exploration ideas, then you will start to see some spread of colonialism in your capital. Again, if you're outside of wherever it spawns. So if it actually spawns in Japan, then the Europeans could get colonialism for having completed exploration. And then finally, printing press. Printing press having historically been the real headache of getting to spread. If you have print culture, which is one of the innovative ideas, then you can start spreading that in your capital as well. So print culture is this one right here. Hello.
Mordred, we've got the numbers glitch. So what this means, if you go, like if you look in the chat, well, I don't think you can actually. There's some players who are tagged with numbers.
Right.
And if these players play, an AI will co-play with them.
Right, so what's the fix?
They need to leave and rejoin.
Okay.
They need to leave and rejoin. I'll tell Hilson.
Yeah, okay.
Just wanted to make sure you know.
Can that just work as a hot join, or do they need to rehost?
Yeah, that's a hot join.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no problem. Thanks. So we're just going to have to reset a couple of players. This is the first session, so a couple of issues are always going to raise their heads. That's just the nature of multiplayer. We did have 27 players sign up. 3 are missing, so we do have a multiplayer here of 24 different nations, not including myself as the commentator. Oh, right, yeah, there is a Poland player. Right, we have Kaiser Wilhelm in Ulm. I'd totally forgotten about Ulm because they're the same colour as Austria. So we do have Kaiser Wilhelm over in Ulm. And we do have a Poland who is not showing up in this list right now. So Poland is supposed to be Sir Striker in Poland. So I wonder if there are any other countries which have not shown up. So we have the Ottomans, Castile, England, Muscovy, France, Mamelukes, Sweden, Milan. Bahmanis has not shown up either. Papal States, Jiangsu, Brandenburg, Portugal who's not here, Oirat, Austria, Tunis who's not here, Morocco, Poland, Ethiopia who's not here, Azjam, Kamchandals, we need to talk about him as well, Oda, Congo, Hosokawa, Malacca, Cusco, and Ulm. So we have Kamchandals over here, which I just totally forgot to scroll over to. Very sorry about that, and that is Logan over there. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly our Siberian Council is planning to achieve. And we do have the Papal States. Wait, the Papal States we did talk about, I think. Where's the Papal States? Papal States is Holy Victor. Yes, we did, because I commented on his name. Jamie was Britain last time, yes. So, as I said, I think our strongest players are probably these two, so I am very much expecting them to be at each other's throats, particularly when I talk about the victory conditions, which I will do in just a moment. And I'm very much expecting shenanigans from Valinoma. There's definitely become a slight tradition with Britain being played by the more tricksy players, like I did it when I played as Britain. Last time Jamie did it, very much a power broker throughout the entire game because of his alliance with France. And now Valinoma, who is kind of renowned for being a very tricksy player, taking over Britain's reins. So I'm expecting to have another very strong England here, who is very much going to be in the position to just meddle in things, and that is very much what Britain likes to do. Ideas and advisors are going to be very important for non-European nations, exactly because of the institution spread. And there's also going to be a lot more diplomacy for knowledge exchange. So someone could make their economy, not exactly based on, but certainly assisted by their way of handling technology. So if you have someone going innovative, they could start selling those technologies to other people around them, and therefore spreading the technology faster that way, rather than waiting for it to natively arrive from Europe. Obviously, global trade, manufacturers, enlightenment unchanged, feudalism unchanged, but the three big ones, which non-Europeans really do struggle to get, are going to spread. Not very quickly. Particularly the Renaissance will spread only at the speed of a level 10 development European province, but they can still appear over there. It's still, I'm expecting to take between 40 to 80 years, so probably 2 or 3 sessions of game, well, probably about 2 sessions of game time will see an institution from spawn to spread in those provinces. The other thing I should talk about, which I can't really do much on because I want to scroll around, are the victory conditions. So, there are 5 categories that people are being rated on. Those categories are, if I just head over to my list, income. So the top 3 nations in terms of income will get points. If you come in first place for any of these, you get 4 points. If you're in second place, you get 2 points. And if you come in third place, you get 1 point. For the 3 top highest development provinces, again, first, second, and third places, you get points. For the top 3 great powers, they get points. For the top 3 powers in terms of military rating, so this is just using one of the possibilities in this score page, so it's just the military ratings, because I wanted a way of kind of averaging the score between quality, quantity, and manpower, stuff like that, rather than just saying, okay, biggest army gets the points, because then someone like Russia is just going to win. It needed to be averaged out between quality and quantity. Why is Cornwall yellow? I don't know. It's a good question. I'll check in that when I can actually zoom around. What else? And then the largest fleet. So whoever has the singular largest fleet will also get points. I was kind of wondering whether I should do largest fleet or most heavy ships, but I thought that the heavy ships would unfairly penalise the Mediterranean powers, of which there are quite a few. Even though mid to late game they probably will start to transition from galleys to heavy ships, that's definitely giving an advantage to Britain, to Castile, to Portugal. So we've just gone with biggest fleet, and then lots of different powers can be competitive on that. And then we also have province ownership. There are 7 provinces around the world, based on my previous playthroughs, that people need to try and occupy. And in fact, before we talk about what those actually are, I want to see if chat, those of you who've been watching my channel for some time, have any ideas what those 7 provinces might be. So think about provinces important, or nations important to my previous playthroughs, both of Europa Universalis and also Crusader Kings, what those 7 provinces might be. Go. I'm very curious to see if you get this or not. York? Absolutely not. Antarctica? No. Delhi? Nope. Helra? Yes, we have a winner. That's one of them. So, the Dutch province over here of Helra is one of the victory conditions. Tirhut, absolutely Tirhut, is one of the victory conditions in northern India. Right there, I think it is. Venice, nope. Florence, nope. Although Florence would have been a good one. I tried to choose provinces which were not already owned by players. Rhodes, boom. We have a third one, Rhodes from the Knights playthrough. So far we have Helra, Tirhut, and Rhodes in the Mediterranean next to Turkey. Tsushima, absolutely. Dominic, we have Tsushima as well. The island here between Korea and Japan is a victory province. Alright, so we've got 3 more. 3 more that you need to guess. Alexandria, no. Caribbean, yes. We do have a Caribbean. And this is the only one where I took a couple of liberties, because the important one for me would have been Jamaica for the Port Royale playthrough, but I've actually chosen Tortuga, because I didn't want to have too many just singular islands. So Tortuga, being on the larger island, should see a little bit more competition between colonials and colonial nations over here. So that's, what, 5 of them now? So there are 2 more. Betsemisaraka's capital, absolutely Darkfighter. So it is this province here. I forget exactly what it's called. It is called Vatamandri. Is a victory condition. So just 1 more. Need to guess 1 more victory condition. And I'm a little bit surprised it hasn't come up yet, because it's probably potentially the biggest one, with the possible exception of Tirhut. It's a huge one. Think about what I was saying when I was talking about which games we were using here. Rio, nope. London, nope. Lancaster. Lancaster would have been a great choice, but it's a little bit too close to England and would have basically been impossible for other people to conquer. I did consider the Pale for the same reason, Pale Pirates, over in Ireland, because that was one of probably my favourite multiplayer games, but we didn't choose the Pale for that either, so no Lancaster, not the Pale. Gotland! Darkfighter, you got it. Gotland, of course, being the starting province in the March of the Vikings campaign, which saw the Vikings moving via CK2 in Gotland to Europa Universalis IV in India to Victoria II in China and Indonesia. Why is it that those provinces are conditions? Because they're provinces that have been very important in my previous playthroughs. And also they're quite nicely spread out. So we have Rhodes, Gotland, Helra in Europe. We have Tirhut in India. We have Tortuga in the Caribbean. We have Tsushima in Asia. And then I have now forgotten what my 4th one is. And I've just... Oh, my 7th one. I have completely just spilt my water. That's not good. Let's just push it on the floor. Sorry about the noise there. Madagascar, of course, because of Betsemisaraka. So we have a nice spread of different provinces. So I'm very much expecting Jamie and Helson to be fighting over Gotland. I suspect that Jamie will take it first, but any of the Germanic powers, possibly even Britain, could try to contest Helra. I'm hoping that we see some competition, over Gotland, some competition over Helra between England, France, Austria, Brandenburg, particularly for Helra, possibly even Sweden, trying to get their way into that. Rhodes is probably going to be a fairly... Hello?
Sorry. Congo here.
Hold on. Legit. Are you? If you have to hard join now, send the request, okay?
Okay.
Sorry, Mordred.
It's alright. Okay, so we have our Congo player trying to join in right now, which is good. How many do you need to win? So this is one thing which is still a little bit up in the air. You get 2 points for every province that you occupy. You don't need to own them, you just need to occupy them. So if you, towards the end of a session, ninja and attack Gotland and then occupy it real quick, that counts as an occupation. You don't need to have demanded it in a peace treaty. Though that will, of course, have ramifications and repercussions in terms of the diplomacy for the next session. So if you do decide to play a very aggressive game of trying to just grab those provinces right at the end of the session, it's going to affect your diplomacy going into the future ones, and people are not going to trust you because of your actions with that. So I think that the fact that it's an occupation as opposed to a ownership, it's going to add some real interesting dynamics to the game there. And also, because they're kind of on the fringes of several of the larger players, it's also going to add some real conflict. Like, I've already had a couple of people moaning about the fact that I made Tortuga the victory condition in the Caribbean, because that was apparently right on the edge of where two colonial nations had agreed to draw a border. So it's already having the desired impact for that. So, it was a good question. What exactly is the victory condition? There isn't one yet. I'm going to wait a session or two before I decide, okay, this is a reasonable number of points you have to reach. So it's 2 points for an occupation. It is between 4 and 1 point for first, second, or third place in any of the 5 major categories. And then I will be tallying up scores at the end of every session. And what I might actually do is just do a straw poll with the players to see what they think should be a reasonable end goal. I'll just do some maths, work out like reasonable point totals, and when I suspect that they'll be reached, and then we can go from there. Those provinces are perfect places for forts. I'd be very surprised if we don't see forts put in those locations. It would be kind of silly if they didn't. I mean, the island ones like Gotland and Rhodes would probably be a little bit easier to hold, but still a little bit risky. Am I playing? No, I am just sitting here in commentary, so I'll be giving an analysis and interviews with players and giving you an idea of what exactly is going on. The advantage of this is I can look at the whole map. I have access to everything. I'm a spectator.